What's going on, kings and queens? It's Fresh Boss on your screen. And I'm back with another story time. How you guys think I look today? I look good. I look good. Oh my gosh, and I can't believe it's like already what? It's 1:05 and I'm eating breakfast with some coffee, which I think is a little bit too sugary. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. But how is everyone doing today? I'm feeling great. Honestly, I didn't think I would wake up feeling like this, but I woke up. I feel good. I, had my shower, got dressed, as you can see. So I hope everyone else is doing great as well. As you can tell by the title, this is a story time about a man walking up to me and, telling me things that no one else, like, he wouldn't know, okay? He was talking to me and telling me things that he wouldn't know because I don't know him and he doesn't know me. And I want to say that he was an angel from God, coming and rescuing my mental space. So before I get on to that, I just want to do a backdrop to how this happened. So there was a point in time, I was looking for work, and I was out of work from like November-ish 2016 till about June of 2017. And I was trying to get unemployment. I was denied unemployment because the last job that I had worked in 2016 lied on me and tried to say that I wasn't following protocol, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't even the case. And I'll definitely do a story time on that another time. So moving forward, I was putting applications everywhere. I'm telling you, when you do unemployment, they want you to go online and go on your thing, and they want you to literally put in at least 5 applications a day. I was putting in more than 5 applications a day, and granted, I was hearing jobs hit me back. Certain ones, it wasn't a lot. A lot of them turned me down because of my resume, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But a lot of them turned me down, and the ones that did accept me, I didn't realize that they were too far, and I didn't have a vehicle at the time. So with that being said, my baby girl was coming into the world 2017, and when she finally did, in the time period that we were in the hospital, I put in 2 applications for housekeeping and for food service, okay? And in that moment, before the day that we were about to be discharged, I was kicked out of the house. So I was really, 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 really adamant on hopefully getting an interview with, food service or housekeeping, because I was really, really scared. I didn't know what was going to happen to me in that moment. I didn't know where I was going to wind up going, where I was going to be. But I mean, obviously that I got a roof over my head, so I wasn't homeless for long. And that's another story time. Moving forward, I wound up getting an interview for food service, and I wound up getting an interview for housekeeping. Food service, I want to say he was supposed to call me back. I never got a call back from him, and if I did get a call back from him, it was probably through email, and I'm very horrible with emails. I'd rather be called or texted or whatever the case is, but I'm really, really bad with emails. And then I had an interview with housekeeping. Now, this interview that I had with housekeeping, I was excited. I was happy, scared, and nervous because I really didn't want to be turned down. I really, 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 at that point in time in my life, needed that job. So I went for my interview, and I sat down with the manager, and he was looking over my resume, and he was talking to me, saying, talking about different things and stuff of that nature. And he's like, the amount of money that you're looking for, on top of the fact that you haven't really stayed anywhere too long, kind of makes me not want to bring you on board. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm about to not have a job. Mind you, I put in applications everywhere else where I stayed, within the area of where I lived, and even a little bit further out. And I was turned down. And like I said, most of the jobs that did accept me were too far. So I was just like, come on, something has to pull through. Something has to pull through for me. I need this. So we're sitting there and we're talking. He's like, even though you're asking for a little bit too much, and even though your resume isn't really up to par, there's still something about you, your intelligence, you're articulate, and I think that you would do very well here. And on top of that, I feel like you would do well beyond being a housekeeper. And I was like, okay. But he still felt skeptical about bringing me on board because, when you give people opportunities, you give people chances who need them, sometimes they disappoint you. Sometimes they're not everything that they screamed that they were, or that they would do. So I knew in the back of my head, I wasn't that person. Bring me on board. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to do what I need to do. I'm a hard worker. I'm a fast learner, and I don't mind doing whatever it is that I need to do because I had a family to take care of. So with that being said, he was like, I'm going to bring my supervisor in, and we're going to speak. In the meantime, I would like for you to sit in the cafeteria while we have this discussion to figure out what our next step is going to be with you. So I'm nervous as hell. I'm scared. I'm crying a little bit. And I'm sitting in this cafeteria like, oh my gosh, like, I really hope she says yes. So, sorry guys. So I'm sitting there, minding my business, in my thoughts, in my head. And this older black man walks up to me. And he says, hi, how are you? Sorry, guys. And I say, hi, how are you? I'm doing good, Well, I'm here for an interview and blah, blah, blah. So he's like, he just starts talking to me about things that I've been through. Like, the conversation was like, he was like, he was just like, I see that you're going through a rough time right now. You have people talking about you behind your back who don't understand you or is misunderstood by you. You have people thinking that you don't hear them or that you're not listening to them when they talk to you or speak to you, which is not the case. You can tell them right away what it is that they just said and how it is that they're feeling. And then he was just like, this was like 2 years ago. 2 years, no. 2017. So 2017, 2 years ago. And so I can't remember everything for verbatim, but he was just like, you're a good person. You have a good spirit, and God has a plan for you. He knows what you're going through. He knows what you're dealing with. And he's just like, don't worry about what other people say about you. Don't worry about how other people feel about you. Because, basically it all tied together. Like, you're going through a hard time, you're going through a rough time. He's like, you're going to get this job. And I was like, I'm telling you, when I got emotional. He's like, you're going to get this job. Don't worry. He's like, you got this. You're going to get this job. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I really, really hope that's the case. I really do. And then he went along the lines of saying how, like, stop looking for a man. The right man is going to come. No, he said God is going to provide you with the right man in the right time. And that part, to be honest with you, that part of the conversation, I was just like, what? Because I'm with a female. And to me, I'm just like, I don't see myself being with anybody else or marrying anyone else besides her. So that part, I was just like, how am I supposed to feel about that part? But he made me feel better. Because where my mental space was that day was all over the place. I had so many different thoughts, so many different emotions, and I was feeling so many different things. And he came right in that moment when I needed him to speak life back into me. And I feel like it was God, you know. God needed me to hear him. And that's what I find interesting, because he couldn't have come at a better time. I was broken, okay? And I was a little weak. You know, I was broken. I was weak in that moment, in that time period. And so to have him be that messenger, you know, made me feel emotional. You know, there are some other things that he did speak to me about that I cannot remember at the moment, and I probably won't for a while, because it was a conversation that you know, sometimes feels like it only happens once in a lifetime. And like I said, it was a conversation that I needed to hear. So after we had the conversation, yes, baby. So after we had the conversation and after he spoke to me, he prayed over me. He gave me a hug, and then he walked away. When he walked away, the manager was coming back to come and let me know what they were going to do. So he was like, "Can you come with me?" I got up, I went with him, and we went back to the room, and I sat down. The supervisor was in there. So they sat there and they were like, "Look, we're willing to give you a chance." And I said, "Oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God." Because you don't understand how much stress was on me. You don't know how much weight was on my shoulders. And I was just like, "Thank you, God," because I needed this. And let me tell you, when I went to work, I was on time. I made sure if I was going to be late or I couldn't come in, I called ahead of time. Look, I was on my P's and Q's when I started working that job. And I continued to be on my P's and Q's up until the point that I had to leave because I started having some breathing issues. But you don't understand how happy and how grateful I was in that moment to hear them tell me that they were going to give me a chance. And from that moment on, when I started working there, all I kept getting was compliment after compliment. "Oh, you clean well. Oh, you do this good. Oh, da-da-da-da-da." I got compliment after compliment, okay? See, when God works, he works. And when he comes into your life, especially when he sends a messenger, you better listen. Because when I got that job, I stopped caring about what anybody had to say. I stopped caring about how, you know, other people were feeling. Why? Because I finally had something for me. I finally was starting to create a foundation for myself and my family. And I was able to now start taking care of my family. And I knew in the back of my head, I'm not going to have to ask nobody for nothing no more. And I didn't then. I mean, the most I would ever ask for would be like a Blacks or something like that. But, and I know that was just extra, but I mean, I'm just saying, I never asked for anything serious. You know, nothing that I needed, nothing that I really wanted besides that. So it made me feel great inside to finally be the provider, to finally have what I needed so that we could start our foundation. And so, I mean, that's just an amazing story. I honestly wish I could have remembered everything that man had said to me that day, because it was a lot. It was a mouthful. And all I can say is that I am so grateful to this day for that man. Now, granted, I still went through some, but in that moment period in time, I needed that. And I'm grateful. Very, very grateful in that moment in time, because when God does it, he does it now. So that's just my story time on a stranger becoming my light for a second. Just bringing back the energy, that positive, good energy that I needed so that I could keep moving forward, so that I can keep doing what I needed to do and not fall and lose everything, because I could have lost everything. So I just hope that this enlightens some of you guys who are watching this. I thank you for watching this. I thank you for clicking on this video and, you know, seeing what Fresh Paws is about. But I honestly want to do more videos where I'm able to enlighten you guys and able to give you positivity and shed light on situations that people don't talk about or are afraid to talk about, and just bring some positivity to, you know, you guys. And I just thank you, and I appreciate you guys so much for watching and tuning in. And hey, comment down in the description. Well, I said description box. Comment your stories. Comment about, you know, things that you've been through and how that changed your life, and just who was willing to be there and be supportive, because that's what I felt like I needed in that moment in time. I was being supported. Mama, what is wrong? Mama is feeling some type of way right now, but I thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, like I say all the time. And like my grandmother says, see ya.